Let us rewind back a little bit to the 23rd of June 2026. In a customary court in Nigeria, one woman walks in promising to bring receipts of her husband's infidelity. The man she once called a perfect man and even knelt down to gloat over, allegedly. That woman is Peggy Ovire, and this is the story of Peggy Ovire and Fedrick Leonard, two of Nollywood's most biggest names. On the 9th of November 2022, they had a wedding that broke the internet. And unfortunately now, that wedding is that marriage is sort of a caricature. It is unraveling in an open court, dwelling Instagram stories and two completely different versions of the truth. So I would ask you, who are you going to believe? By the end of today's video, you would have heard every side of the story and you can decide for yourself. For any of these, it is worthy to note that Peggy Ovire and Fedrick Leonard, they were two of the most biggest or one of the most biggest Nollywood actresses and actors that we have. Peggy had built a name for herself in the Nollywood industry as a sharp, versatile actress known for her roles that went beyond the typical love interest. Fedrick, on the other hand, was already very big in Nollywood, the kind of actor whose face you would always recognize even if you couldn't place the movie. He was backed by years of credit and a loyal fan base. So when these two came together, their wedding made history. Like, everybody was like, wow, these two very, beautiful and handsome, attractive looking Nollywood couple. Everybody was interested in the relationship. And Peggy, by all appearances, was sold by her husband because, a girl was in love. In a widely circulated clip from their traditional marriage, I'm pretty sure everybody must have seen it. She was holding his hands, telling everyone watching that she chose Fedrick because he was the type of man not to be moved by other women. She reportedly begged him on camera. That's why I said men would embarrass you, guy. She reportedly begged this man on camera not to disappoint her, but unfortunately, he did.
Babe, I don't want to go through everything. You and I have been through a lot. It's been a lot of struggles. It's been a lot of breakups as well. You've gone, I've gone, I've come back, you've come back. And for that, my husband. I will love you. I will learn to be a better woman. But when I met Fredrick, I saw a man that was willing to make money. I saw a man that is not a womanizer. And most importantly, that is why I stayed for this long, babe. Please don't change. Fredrick is one man I can beat my chest on, despite what everyone is saying, that he doesn't womanize.
It's also worthy to note that in Nigeria, a customary wedding and a court or civil marriage, they are two separate legal processes, which is exactly why Peggy and Fedrick's divorce is playing out in a customary court. I don't know, correct me if I am wrong. Now, before we get to the court dates, the Instagram stories and the shameless lot and everything that has happened so far, we need to go back, way back, because this union did not even start in 2022 that they had the wedding. It started over a decade ago in 2015. That's right, Peggy Ovire and Fedrick Leonard love story has actually lasted for like 10 or 11 years at this point. And from the very beginning, nothing about their relationship was ever straightforward. Now, let me explain. In 2015, Fedrick publicly confirmed that the two of them were dating. Two good-looking, talented Nollywood actors and actresses, like everybody was interested, Abby. Pictures were coming out, the chemistry was very undeniable, and everyone was rooting for them. Then, fast forward to 2017. In an interview, Peggy Ovire sat down and told the world with a straight face that Fedrick Leonard was just her friend, her brother even, she said. And I quote, "He is like my brother. I have never been married in my life. I have never introduced any man to my dad." That was what Peggy Ovire said in an interview. This is the same man that she would later marry, the same man she praised at their wedding for not being a womanizer. But anyways, I just feel like time can change people's opinions on certain things, Abby. Like, priorities can change with time. At some point during this period, Peggy and Fedrick was spotted on the same flight. And what did Peggy do? She went on her Snapchat and told her followers that she just ran into her ex on the same flight. So thinking about it or looking about it, their relationship wasn't like it wasn't straightforward. Like I feel like they were confused most of the times in the relationship. Or Peggy, at some point, I feel like Peggy didn't want to make it public, and at some point they broke up. They were just going back and forth, back and forth. So to summarize this, between 2015 and 2022, these two people dated, they broke up, and Peggy even called Fedrick her ex on Snapchat. So you could see that the relationship, it had K-leg, unfortunately. And then came the proposal. So let's fast forward to 2022. Fedrick organized a surprise birthday dinner for Peggy in front of everybody. He got down on one knee, which I was even surprised because, Fedrick had already called himself a traditional man in quotes, and traditional men do not get down on one knee, no be so. They said titled men do not get down on one knee. But anyways, he did that and he proposed to Peggy, and Peggy, of course, turned around and accepted the proposal. The video went viral and fans have been following the story up until then. But here is something very, very special. Here is one detail that I didn't want to miss. Fedrick has already admitted that before he married Peggy, he received a prophecy that the marriage would not even last and that the marriage will eventually end in divorce. So would you say that this is a prophecy fulfilled, or was it just a case of just being a reckless guy or being a nonchalant and somebody that didn't care about his marriage? I don't know. Just tell me in the comment section down below. Anyways, fast forward to 2024, the real first sign that something was actually wrong between the both of them didn't even come from them, like directly saying that, no, I am done with you, or Peggy saying I am done with Fedrick, or vice versa. It came from a photo. Peggy posted a solo Christmas photo shoot, all dressed up, no Fedrick in sight. As per, normally now couples, especially Nigerian or Nollywood couples, would post Christmas photos together in pajamas, doing all lovey-dovey. But when Peggy came and posted a picture without Fedrick, just herself, celebrating Christmas alone, people started speculating, and they also noticed that something very, very important was missing: her wedding band. So for a couple that had built such a public image of togetherness, the absence actually spoke loudly that something is wrong somewhere. Predictably, the internet did what the internet does. It started talking. And at this point, Fedrick had to come in and reportedly stepped in to shut down the rumors, saying that he routinely blocked people who were taunting his wife online so that they couldn't interfere in his marriage. So I felt like at that point, the fans read it as like, oh, okay, maybe he's just trying to protect the image of his marriage. He's just trying to be a private person in quotes. So let us fast forward to May of 2025. Peggy attended a wedding, all dressed up, looking all glammed up, but something was also missing: her wedding band. She took a picture, posted it on Instagram, and captioned it, on the basis of something as that she's walking into room as herself. Something like this would always, bring up speculations. And thinking about it now, I just thought that maybe it was just a subtle way of telling everybody that, oh, mommy, I'm now with a single Pringle, I'm no longer married. Because you are a public figure and you know that speculations had been going on your marriage. So removing your wedding band simply means that you are trying to fuel the speculations. I don't know if you guys get me. By February 2026, the cracks had already turned into something very, very big. Peggy posted something that looked like a hypothetical story, but thinking about it now, is actually her story, about a woman who finds out that her husband was dating a married woman and denies it every time he's confronted, insisting that they are just friends. She actually did not name anybody at that point, but the timing made it very, very obvious that she was pointing to somebody. Within 2 days, two different women, both named Rita, stepped forward with two completely different narratives. So now the first Rita goes by the name Amy Rita, and she described herself as both a close friend and a therapist / lawyer to Fedrick Leonard. So she posted a video on February 11, 2026, just 2 days after Peggy's cryptic post on her Instagram. Do you know what this lady said? She said that it was Fedrick that divorced Peggy, not the other way around. And she said that the reason why they ended the marriage was because Fedrick saw Peggy as someone that was chronically disrespectful and unwilling to be submissive. She even revealed that the first separation actually happened earlier when Peggy walked out mid-argument. So her and Fedrick was arguing, normally like how couples do, and then Peggy walked out. Something that the couple had specifically agreed before marriage that would be completely unacceptable. So Peggy and Fedrick agreed that, see, during this marriage, even if we have issues, we're going to sort it out. But unfortunately, Peggy did the opposite, allegedly. So after the first split, according to the woman, Peggy and her family reportedly apologized and the couples reconciled. So this was not even their first separation, according to the lady. She also described Peggy's personality as potentially feminist and said, if you know you are a feminist, you don't get married to a man like Fedrick Leonard. I don't even know, what does that even mean? I feel like most people even misunderstand or over exaggerate the meaning of feminism. I beg somebody should tell me in the comment section down below, because I don't even understand what that statement actually means. Anyways, she also said that Peggy had accused at least 4 different women of sleeping with Fedrick, one of them being the actress Sarah Martins, and now urged Peggy to self-audit herself instead of dragging Fedrick's reputation on the mud, apparently. What? Anyways, she said she had personally advised Fedrick to sue Peggy unless Peggy publicly named the married women Fedrick had something to do with. Then came the second Rita. Remember, we just finished talking about the first Rita that came online. Then came the second Rita. Her full name is Rita Onyekweli, a content creator who introduced herself as a friend who had known Peggy for over 20 years. Now, version of her own story paints an almost entirely different marriage, according to what the first Rita said. According to her, Fedrick had already allegedly asked Peggy to move out of their shared home since the middle of the previous year. She claimed that the couple had tried a mediator, then a therapist, and neither of the efforts saved the marriage. And according to her, Fedrick was allegedly abusive to Peggy, including calling her demeaning names, including, trying to demean her body type and all of that. And of course, what would Peggy do? She had to allegedly defend herself. So this all now made it look like Peggy was the disrespectful and, difficult one. This Rita also claimed that Fedrick had allegedly warned other actors in Nollywood industry to stop working with Peggy. These are all alleged. These are all alleged information. We don't know if they are true or not. Honestly, I feel like at this stage, neither versions have been completely confirmed by either Peggy or Fedrick. You get, so these are all public information, and everybody's coming out with their own narratives that will be very convenient for themselves, and paint the other person as a terrible spouse. Anyways, everything changed in the early hours of 9th of June 2026 when Peggy finally broke the camel's back. She broke her silence, all the hypothetical situations she has been posting on her Instagram stories. She broke it out. She now came out and said her own side of the truth. So I guess the girl said, enough is enough. It is time to, say my own truth. In a series of Instagram stories, she confirmed what the fans had suspected for months, that the marriage was over and that she was pursuing a divorce. She shared a story appearing to show Fedrick with another woman identified online as Angel Nikki, and accused her husband of carrying on with a married woman that had 4 children. Peggy also did not even stop there. She alleged that Fedrick had been the one to request the divorce in the first place. So the first Rita was right in this case. And then he had also failed to appear in court after being served court papers, sending his lawyer in his place instead. She called him out directly, daring him not to avoid the next court date and promising she would arrive with what she called her receipts, I guess receipts of infidelity. So as of this video, Fedrick Leonard had not publicly responded to any of these allegations. Augusta decided to just do PIM which I think is a good option for him, if I'm being very, very honest. Now, that brings us to the 23rd of June, the date that Peggy had been building towards in every post. A customary court hearing where she claimed she had finally presented her evidence of infidelity and decided to close the chapter of her marriage, Abi. Now, what we don't know for certain is what exactly happened in the court hearing. There had been no public news about it, but we are still anticipating to hear what had happened. We don't even know if Fedrick eventually attended the court hearing. Chakam, nothing is on the internet as of right now. Public reaction has been split. Some commenters point back to the old wedding videos, the one where Peggy was praising her husband, gushing over her husband and saying that her husband is not the type of man to be swayed by other women. I feel like, don't trust anybody that is not yourself. Even sometimes you cannot even trust yourself. Don't come out in the public and vouch for a guy. Like, yes, I understand that you love him, but love and trust are entirely two different things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't trust your partner in marriage, but coming on the internet, coming outside in a public venue to like 100% vouch for your husband is like shooting yourself in the leg, because human beings are unpredictable. Even sometimes when you even do something, you'll be like, did I really do this? You can now imagine vouching for an entirely different human being. Anyways, I don't even think she should be blamed about this, because I mean, my girl was in love. I mean, what do you expect her to do after all the back and forth they have had in their relationships, and she eventually bagged the man, or so to say? It is worthy to note that with everything that has happened, these two people are still real human beings that had loved each other at some point in their lives. Two Nollywood actors that stood in front of their family members, in front of their fans, in front of everybody, and had professed love for each other. So even with everything that's going on right now, it still does not deny the fact that these people actually loved each other at some point in their life. Nobody that watched the video would imagine that 3.5 years later, one of them would be posting receipts on Instagram stories, the other will be sending his lawyer to court in his place. The truth is that this story is still very much unfolding. We're still going to get into the nooks and the crannies and the details when it comes online. So if you'd like to, follow up with this story, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Do let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. I'd really appreciate it. My name is Chioma, and I'll see you next time. Bye.